I don't really know why I've done this. What I've just done is I've gone 3.5 hours north of Agadir when actually I need to be heading 12 hours south of Agadir later on. So yeah, a bit of a ball ache, but this is democracy. It's what you lot voted for, so we'll get through it. And yeah, it just means tonight's gonna suck a bit more, I guess. Anyway, here I am in Essaouira, the winner of the previous vote. The day trip one between this and Paradise Valley. This one won by a pretty narrow margin. 56% of you said I should come here, so here we are. And yes, I am wearing a full jacket. Agadir turned my neck a little bit pink, so I'm trying to cover up today. Probably going to suffer as a result, but at least my skin's not going to fall off, so there's that. First things first, we're going to have a look around the old port, because that is pretty much the entire point of Essaouira. It's a really good trading spot for, well, ever since Morocco has been inhabited, and this bit's pretty iconic. I think I found the fish market, boys. I hate fish. I hate fish. This is so foul. Isn't it just the worst smell in the whole world and the single most unappetizing thing to ever want to eat? Horrible, horrible stuff. Right, I think I'm free. Minging. Absolutely minging. Anyway, I suppose as a seaside port, it's kind of bound to be quite fishy in it, so it's probably a bit naive of me to think that it wasn't going to smell entirely of that. But yeah, if your nose is broken and you can actually walk through a fishy place without wanting to be sick, then apparently this is a really good place to buy loads of swanky seafood, like dead fresh and cheap and stuff, so worth a visit if you're into that kind of thing. Get out the way, you div. All their fishing boats being blue is a pretty important traditional thing as well, because they used to harvest some murex shells, they're called, from nearby islands, and the dye from those shells turns the boats blue, so eventually they all turn blue naturally. I think now they just paint them, but still, it's an important feature of the town. We're now within the old city walls, and these are built in 1760 or so. There's loads of like shops and stuff. I guess people living here and stuff like that, so it's like a big walled city. You can also get up onto the top of the city walls where we are now, and you get a pretty grand look over the Atlantic Ocean. This whole area, in fact, is recognised by UNESCO. It's protected as a World Heritage Site, so that means it's a pretty big deal. And they filmed a bit of Game of Thrones here. I think this was used for the sets of some of King's Landing and Slaver's Bay. Whatever those two things are, I don't watch it, but apparently that's a pretty cool thing too. I like old stuff like this. Isn't this tremendous? And when you get a bit further into the walled city, it all basically just ends up one big souk, but like a nicer outdoor version with fresh air and a bit less stench. So, as you can see, there's quite a lot of fortress type things in Essaouira, and in fact that's where the name came from. It literally means little fortress. It's the Portuguese who deserve most of the credit for making Essaouira a thing. This area has been inhabited since prehistoric times actually, so a very long time ago, but it was the Portuguese who made it the kind of place we see it as today. So the Portuguese turned up in 1506 and realised the potential of the city because of where it was and that kind of thing. It was good for import and export, so they built a fortress, they built a castle back when the city was called Mogador. But then just 4 years later, in 1510, they just ran off, they just left, and pretty much from that point a lot of different European powers fought over it and tried to have it, but it was Portugal that really started the whole trend basically. So it's kind of because of them that Essaouira was recognised recently at least and made into a fortressy place, and it's only actually been called Essaouira I think for like 50 years or so. Until that point it was always called Mogador like it was when the Portuguese had it and that kind of thing. But I'm pretty sure the name Essaouira, little fortress, comes from the fact that there was a fortress here when everybody found it, and that was thanks to Portugal. And just a quick note for any history critics, I know Portugal didn't find it in the first place. The Phoenicians were here way before them, like 3,000 years ago, and in fact it was those guys that started the shell harvesting thing that turned all the boats blue. So I know Portugal wasn't here first, but Portugal definitely had a massive impact on the place and made it the kind of place we see here today. Essaouira is ace, absolutely brilliant. I'm just sat overlooking the Atlantic Ocean eating my quid kebab, sat on some old fortress thing. This is a dead good place. You can literally just like walk around endlessly. I mean, I'm dead lost, I've walked definitely quite a few miles, but there's an awful lot of charm about this place. The whole vibe in Essaouira is just so much different to Agadir, and the place itself is like Agadir. It was mint, you saw I had a good time there. It was a dead good day actually, but each thing that was to do was like really far away from each other, and apart from that there was just cafes, whereas Essaouira feels more like one giant thing to do. Like everything's really well connected. It feels like a real place. There's a lot going on, there's a lot to look at. You can just wander around for hours. It's a really enjoyable place to be actually. There's a good range of stuff in a small area, so there's just a lot to be doing, but it's not exhausting. It's a really relaxing place. So yeah, given the option, if you're gonna get to Morocco at some point and you can choose between Essaouira and Agadir, I would absolutely recommend Essaouira. As good as Agadir is, Essaouira is more of like a real place. There's more to it. It's historical, it's prettier to look at. There's just a lot more going on, so out of those two I'd pick Essaouira. And of course thanks to the 56% of you that voted for it, because I've had a dead good day today. It's been ace, and that's all thanks to you lot. So yeah, cheers for getting involved. And now I'm just sat like on a street corner waiting for my bus. As voted for by 67% of you, I'm heading south, and what I was going to do is go back to Agadir tonight and then travel tomorrow, but I've decided that's a waste of time. I'm going to travel overnight instead. It's a 15-hour bus. It's like 600 miles I think to get from here to where I'm going tomorrow, so it's a long one, but it means I can avoid getting another hotel room. I can just sleep on the bus, and it means I haven't got to waste valuable daylight hours by travelling on a bus. I can do it overnight, so that's dead good. And I think probably this is the point at which the trip starts getting a little bit spicier, and the next time you hear from me I'm going to be in a different country. And yeah, as always, I'm really grateful for everyone taking part so far. I'm really glad that you're all enjoying what I'm doing, because I'm having a pretty mint time so far, and I'm never going to get tired of feedback, good or bad. So be sure to let me know what you reckon so far in the comments and all that kind of thing. And yeah, time to go south and see what all that's like. Let's have a go at this, shall we? Cheers boys.